Ronda Rousey's 39. Gina Carano's 44. Cage match fighting on Netflix tomorrow. Meanwhile, I slept wrong on Tuesday and standing has been a challenge all week. Plus, on the Friday show, Amazon is selling new cars. That means somewhere, probably right now, there's a dude reading a 1-star review on a Jeep that goes something like, "Arrived damaged, driver's door has trust issues." Thanks for subscribing and being a part of @BudFord Comedy. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the comments. If you're on Spotify, thank you. Spotify's all mad at me, like I said the other day, because I hadn't been on getting people on Spotify. I didn't know I was doing that wrong. They called me names. If you get a chance, if you're over there, like the page or follow it or whatever, I'd appreciate that. I'm on Apple Podcast and iHeartRadio and also on Facebook and Instagram. I appreciate your follows there too. Dallas just built one of the most incredible parks I've ever seen on top of a freeway, which sort of feels like putting a scented candle on top of a nervous breakdown, but whatever, we'll talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. Netflix had to look at their lineup and go, we have a bunch of murder documentaries. We're good there. Now we need millionaires punching each other in the face. And if you really want to put the cherry on top, let's make it women. I'm in for it. Sure I am. Ronda Rousey is coming back to fight Gina Carano. And my first thought was, why? I get the nostalgia. Don't get me with it. Because they're the greatest. I get it. They're legends. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about financially. Why are these two already famous women with actual careers? They're talking about putting Gina back on Mandalorian or some of the other Star Wars stuff. She's about to come back from the mess that she unfortunately walked into. This is a rebirth for her. Why are you on Netflix getting punched in the face? Ronda Rousey's estimated net worth is $14 million. Gina Carano is worth about $4 million, but again, her future is bright. Apparently, she also has a chunk of some casino stuff out in Nevada I didn't know about. She's not hurting for money. This is not I need a paycheck money. This is I yell at customer service because my pool cleaning app is broke kind of money. They don't need this. Yet both of them are like, you know what sounds good at 39 and 44? Elbows, combinations, knees, all of it. And that's commitment because this is not celebrity pickleball. This isn't boxing. This is MMA. This is, like I said, accidental knees, facial rearrangement. Hollywood is shallow. You cannot show up at too many interviews with one eye pointing towards Albuquerque and expect to get callbacks. It's not going to happen. These ladies are beautiful. That's why the viewership's going to be outrageous. Gina is 44. Most people I know at 44 are negotiating their way out of a Honda Accord. Gina's like, you know what? I'll get in a cage fight with Ronda Rousey on Netflix. Sure, why wouldn't I? Said earlier, I slept all weird. My back ain't right. I've been strategically sitting for days. Netflix is streaming this thing globally, which kind of feels appropriate. Netflix has become the official home of, oh, this is what we're doing now. They had a run, and now they're sort of like, I mean, they have 3 documentaries, a cooking competition, and Mike Tyson fighting a YouTuber. And now Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. Somewhere, Blockbuster Video is up in heaven going, bro, we were just renting Roadhouse. You guys are creating the apocalypse. No wonder we're out of business. So the money for the fight? Well, they're not disclosing the amount. Paul's involved, so that's pretty big probably. My guess is the payout was just enough for everybody to go, oh, I'm suddenly motivated. Jake Paul's promotion company has generated some significant money. He's billing it as the biggest women's combat sporting event ever. Translation, Netflix backed up the Brinks truck and said, we're doing this. And both of the women were like, you know what, my knees still work, let's do it. I don't really think it's about winning. Kurt Angle said it best. Ronda Rousey's legacy is rock solid no matter what happens here. Gina Carano, rock solid. Remember when Dana White was like, no one's ever going to watch women fight. It's never going to work. Does this idiot not know why we have the internet? Dumb like 100 chickens. Ronda showed up arm-barring people, and in 14 seconds, the world was like, yeah, I'm interested in this. Gina Carano, she was the original star before Ronda, and she made women's MMA feel mainstream. Before mainstream even knew what it had to be to feel. Just weird. So this fight sort of feels like two Hall of Famers meeting up one last time. But I got to be here. You know, at some point in training camp, one of them had to look in the mirror, shadow boxing, and say, you know, we could have just done a podcast. I don't know what we're doing here. Ain't no amount of money worth me getting my face rearranged in front of 40 countries. At 55, I pull a hamstring if I'm opening barbecue sauce aggressively. I got to be careful. You don't put this much strength into one project like that. So I'm not in the mood to take no spinning back fists. Ain't gonna happen. Best I can do if I get upset's probably a strongly worded email of disappointment, maybe a text if I'm feeling angry. I don't know if you watch MMA and UFC. I'm learning to like it. I was a kid who grew up sitting on my granddad's knee on ABC's Wide World of Sports watching Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard. These guys box, and it was amazing. I loved watching boxing because it was a cool art form. MMA came along, and they're just beating each other up, but now they're not doing it artistically. They're absolutely just mauling each other. However, the more time you spend with it, the more strategic and more you realize the art of what they're doing. So then it becomes a lot like boxing, again, kind of. I don't like when they get wrapped up in the corner and it's like they're just hugging it out against the cage. That's weird for me, but it's a big part of it, and I understand that. If you didn't hear this, Amazon's selling brand new cars, which feels dangerous because Amazon already knows way too much about us, right? I'm expecting soon to get a text or an email from them that says, you know, people who bought paper towels and hemorrhoid cream financed Jeep Wranglers. Click here. It's not fair. That's too much access. And it feels like the final frontier for car dealerships. It's another full-fledged frontal assault on that industry. Because every few years, another company goes, you know what? We can make this process better. CarMax, Carvana, Tesla, now Amazon. You know, the Bronco folks were talking about that too. Ford was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to build our own boutique Bronco showroom. So people can just come in and they can sit down and design their very own personalized Ford Bronco. But we won't call them Ford, we're just going to call them Broncos. Because that changes everything. You know, like when Dodge stopped calling them Dodge Rams, they just call them Rams. Changed everything. Right? Sure it did. At this point, though, the car dealerships gotta feel like Blockbuster watching Netflix pull into the parking lot. And we know what's behind this. We don't enjoy the car buying process. Nobody ever says, you know, it sounds relaxing. I'm gonna go spend 4 hours under fluorescent lighting while a guy named Trevor disappears 13 times to go talk to his manager. Buying a car is the only retail experience where you leave emotionally exhausted with a monthly payment. The article went on to say that people would rather get a root canal than negotiate with a car dealer. And I believe that, because at least they numb you first at the dentist. That's all I'm saying. Now, Amazon says you can browse the inventory online, do your financing online, do all the paperwork. Every single thing that you detest about the car dealership process can be done online, which sounds incredible. Buying a car right now feels less like buying a car, more like joining a timeshare cult. Show up at noon. Next thing I know, it's dark outside. I've signed 46 papers, and now they're trying to sell me paint protection. Bro, I live in Phoenix. The sun itself is preaching violence to paint. Also, the rocks start hitting the front bumper before I get out of the parking lot good. Y'all need to stop. Dealerships, fascinating businesses. They somehow make you feel guilty for spending your money. You walk in looking confident. Like I said, 30 minutes later, you're like, listen, I apologize for asking for them cup holders. That is completely unnecessary. Shh, don't worry about it, Timmy. You can just hold your drink and don't spill it like you did in the last one that didn't have cup holders because they're expensive. I realize that cup holders will break a car company, and that's not fair to you as a dealership. I'll just forget about it. Now, when the deal goes sideways, what can you do? I'm on the internet to tell you about how bad this car dealership is. You can probably get some people's attention that way if you use the right @s and the right hashtags. You can reach out to your local news. You could do a lot of things. And oftentimes with car lots, judges are tired of it. They've heard it. So oftentimes, if you sue them and you have a real legitimate argument, you're probably going to win. Dealerships know that as well. But Amazon? You're not really fighting and winning with them in court. Amazon has lawyers that bill more before breakfast than my first radio contract paid in a full year. You start messing with Amazon, suddenly there's a legal team called Strategic Consumer Resolution Disaster Division 7, which is not really a lawsuit. It's a Marvel villain. Same thing with Carvana. You don't want to go messing with them lawyers. They got too many of them. All these companies seem like everything's golden when we're online chatting it up. Everything's good. Oh, when we talk on the phone, oh, they're wonderful people. Until something goes wrong. Suddenly, there ain't a human nowhere. And you're begging for anyone, and they're all like, your concern is important to us. No, it's not. Because if it was, you wouldn't communicate with me exclusively through a bot named Ashley. This Amazon system is creating people showing up with the wrong paperwork, cars already sold, trade-ins somehow mysteriously under someone else's name. Which reminds me of something very important. We as Americans are not mature enough to buy cars like this, because we treat online shopping like a game show. No harm, no foul. I can order something at 5 in the morning, I get it, I don't like it, I send it right back. You got to start buying $72,000 trucks at 1:30 in the morning while you're in bed eating Doritos. That should not be possible. There should have to be an adult somewhere before somebody finances a Tahoe. I'm just telling you, this is going to be a problem for us in the short term, not the long term. This isn't one of those we can just kick the can down the road things. You cannot blame Amazon. Look at the numbers. $1.3 trillion worth of cars last year. That's the number. That's not a business. That's a country. Amazon's looking at this and going, licking their lips like a raccoon looks at a row of lidless trash cans right before pickup day. Amazon doesn't only want to sell the cars. Amazon's in it for the long haul. They also want to sell the advertising. What? 'Cause they can? That's incredibly smart. What's going to happen? You're going to be buying toothpaste on Amazon, and a pop-up box is going to say, other people who worry about gum health, Lisa Subaru. Click here. And it's inevitable. Young people do not want to go to car dealerships, and you cannot blame them. The experience just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Millennials don't want to buy anything. They want to subscribe to it, and they want to do it online. They grew up doing everything online. Walking into a car dealership for them feels like walking into Colonial Williamsburg. Look, honey, they negotiated person. How archaic. But I think for me, I still want to see people. I still want to see the car when I'm buying it. I want to look somebody in the face and talk about numbers. Harder and harder to do these days. I think it's important because everything looks amazing on the internet. You get that car to your house, they drop it off and find out this thing's got less leg room than a Spirit Airlines flight. What? Too soon? At least the car moves. Still too soon? I get it. It's a little terrifying to think, I'm going to spend $50,000 on a vehicle at the same place that I go online to order an emergency charger at 2 in the morning. That's too much power for one company. Amazon started selling books. Now they're selling Corvettes. At this rate, by 2032, you're going to accidentally add a duplex while you order paper towels. Your package will arrive on Tuesday, and they'll send you an email that says, and congratulations on that mortgage. That's too much power. And to close out this Friday, only in America would you see 14 lanes of traffic and think, you know what we need over this? Yoga moms, food trucks. They literally put a park on top of a freeway in Dallas. I'm not making this up. Not beside it, on it, which is absolutely the most Texas solution imaginable. Think about it. Well, traffic's bad. Cool. We should build a playground over it. Tell you what, this thing is unbelievable. It has walking trails. Look at it. Full lawn. Oh, wait, let me show you this. A full lawn built over the interstate. If you're not watching this on the video, check it out. You can check it out on Spotify and any other place the video's at. YouTube, at Bud Ford Comedy. Right on top of the interstate, there are food trucks, there are concert space, all sitting above 14 lanes of complete chaos. They call it urban planning. It's more like putting a decorative throw blanket over anxiety, or whatever you want to call it. The deeper story is absolutely incredible because in the 50s, during the highway boom, they started building these roads through here, and they completely separated neighborhoods by the interstate, so these people never hung out again. They'd have to drive to each other's places. Now, after all these decades, they're putting it all back together, and everyone gets to become the same neighborhood again, which I think is incredibly cool. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a win for America. But my brain cannot get past the visual of a bunch of kids playing peacefully while underneath 14 lanes of Dallas drivers are close to emotional breakdowns at 78 miles an hour. And the funniest contrast for me is you look up, you see butterflies. Underneath, somebody like me yelling at, it ought to be called a slog. Lady, move the Nissan. We have somewhere to be. The contrast is hilarious. Another cool part for me is somebody looked at that freeway and said, how do we make this less horrible? And that's beautiful because most cities just give up. Out here in Phoenix, it's hot, y'all don't die, we're back in a couple months. Dallas went, nope, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to create whimsy over screaming traffic. $300 million later, well, we have the world's fanciest highway lid. You realize how Texas this is, right? Think about it. This is all Texas. Only Texas would look at a freeway and think, you know what this needs? Real estate. The article said there's even a splash pad, which I showed you. It's unbelievable. A splash pad. Come on now. Over the interstate. This is utopia. This is the coolest thing ever. Splash pad is a wee bit confident, though. Kids are playing in the water while underneath, you know, you got an F-250 towing a camper trailer, towing a boat, all at Mach 3. And all of us are trying to pretend like everything's okay. But the reconnecting of the neighborhoods, the reduction of the heat, the creating of the community space, man, like I said, that's legit. That's an admirable thing to do to a city, in a city. Even though it does cost that kind of money, it's a good use of it. But I want you to remember me saying this, no matter how beautiful the public space, somebody's going to eventually ask if they can put pickleball courts there. It's going to happen. They're like an invasive species, like kudzu. They just keep going. Designers talked about balancing science and art. I bet that was a challenge. You got an active freeway, you're trying to build over the top. Who wants to be on that construction team? Not me, I'm good. The pictures look incredible. They don't even look real. It looks like a future city from every movie where society is about to collapse in 11 or 12 minutes. There should be a scene with a bunch of billionaires talking quietly. We solved traffic, but we didn't see us losing the Midwest. I don't think I want to watch this movie. But I think what people get out of the story, and this is the reason that I wanted to show it to you if you haven't seen it, it's hopeful. It feels good. Most infrastructure is to solve a problem, right? Bridges collapsing, that's devastating. Holes, construction cones that survive longer than most relationships. This feels creative. It feels like they took something and added and covered it with life, which is absolutely beautiful. It's also American, and that makes me happy. We didn't really solve congestion, but we did put grass over stress, and we called it urban renewal. And by God, that is a win. Praise the Lord. Thanks for spending time with me here at Bud Ford Comedy. Thanks for your likes, your follows, your shares. Have a great day, and have a great weekend.